that's so exciting, and it's so amazingly attractive.
Yeah, you're not laughing now, are you?
I am not laughing, no. All right there, give me a couple of hours to what do they call it? Oh, come on. What's it called when you reset something? It was there right on the tip. Right, what's it called? Not reset, not regulate. What do you do to an instrument? It's not the best start to a stream. This ain't going to be a long stream. What it's going to be is a very important message. And I promised myself, and I've already broken that promise, that I wouldn't Twitter. Hello, Packer. Hello, Livy. Hello, Jess. Packer, this ain't going to be long enough to make it worth you coming on. Not that a few minutes of your boat race wouldn't be wonderful. But it's going to be a very short video. I just got to make this little point. Right on the glands. What's the word? Hello, never again. Not tune it, no. Balance. Maybe I'm looking for a word. It's all right to mess about like this while, I nearly had it then. It might not begin with R. No way. Sophist was watching Dutton and the Three Stooges. On the Two Stooges. What? That actually happened, did it? Me, Dan and Dutton. Good. There you go. Oh, well, I would have said calibrate, but recalibrate. Nixie. Sheila, did you want to shout out, darling? Not a problem. I'll always shout you out. Put a smile on someone's face. Hello, Sheila. Sheila's dot to dot. Let's go. Hello, Henry. Hello, Mousecat. Mousecat, I don't want to say too much, maybe get people in trouble, but I saw a photograph of you and a couple of other people. You'll probably know who I'm talking about. So a scrub I'm very close to, you know. I saw that, lovely, but I don't want to give... Nah, Charlie Veach and a friend. It was boring anyway. I can kind of get on with Charlie Veach, but it's like now and again, isn't it? Because they're all the same. Let's find some drug addicts in Manchester and see if we can provoke them. But it is entertaining, you know, as much. Look at that. It was boring anyway. You know, when you're sitting there watching a video thinking, why am I watching this? Right, just while we're waiting for, you know the one, Mousecat, lovely. Not just, sorry people, I can't go into more detail, but what people do in their private lives is private. But I just wanted to mention it. You know, seeing there's a few scrubs there, people, and it cheered me up to see it. Mark says, just get to the point and tell us we're all doomed. Well, I am going to actually. I'm just going to say this. If this is the first time you've ever watched one of my streams, they usually go on for 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours. Go and check out some of the other ones. Or if you're really bored and you want something to do, check out my Substack that I forgot to put in the description of this video. But by the time you're watching it, it will be there. Loads of short stories I've written. Oh, I've got a publisher sniffing about that manuscript. Oh, interesting. The man who said he would never traditionally publish. When someone starts taking all the work, all the effort out of, you know, all that, the tedious stuff, formatting, maybe. Anyway, it's good to see people. Hello, Baz. Good to see you. Hello, Otto. Otto, I remember who you look like now. You know that film, Ex Machina, about the man who makes the contestant of a competition fall in love with a robot. He's like he's sort of based on Zuckerberg, I suppose, but he's a lot more handsome. But that's who you reminded me of when I saw you the other day. Yeah, Sophist is an absolute dude. We'll have to get him on actually for a whole show if you're up for it, because when he come on the other week for a chat, I really enjoyed it, and the chat seemed to. Anyway, listen, people, I haven't got the time. Mark's been here since the Crack Diaries. That's got to be about 8, 9 years ago now, Mark. It's incredible, isn't it? Incredible. No, I'm not saying it's incredible. Anyway, thank you, Mark. I'm glad you're still enjoying it. Hello, Special K. Good to see you, JP. Right. So look, this is what we've got to do. I think there's enough people here. Actually, well, we'll let it get to 60. Before we get on to it, I've got a little treat for you. I discovered a movie yesterday. I already put this out on Telegram earlier. Link to my Telegram will be in the description if you're not watching this live. How do I find it? How do I search that to find it again? There you go. Gotcha. Swedish movie. I'd never heard of it before. It's called Evil. A mate of mine thought it was going to be a horror. You'll need a VPN probably in the UK. I don't think you can get this particular website when you're in the UK or USA. It's one of those treats of being in a country that doesn't give a shit about all that stuff. Swedish film from 2003. If anyone in the chat's seen it, let me know what you think. It's called Evil. And it really hit me because it's about injustice. And injustice has been like a theme of my life. This isn't self-pity, but ever since I was very young, when I first learned what injustice was, and it hurt, it really hurt. And it's carried on because you realise as you get older, there's more and more of it. You know, when people say life's not fair, that's a lie. It is. Life is fair, actually. And it's also just. The problem is people whose gangs have formed themselves, made themselves strong. You know, I'm talking about gangs like the judiciary, gangs like the royal family, gangs like the government. They're just gangs of people like you and your mates. Imagine you and all your mates. You're a gang, aren't you? You're a gang that do things in the world to try and make your world work, you know. You fight for resources, hopefully helping each other, and you try and get resources to better your life and protect those yourself and those you love. Well, that's all it is. That's all government is. It's just a gang. It's just like you and your mates. They just happen to, they're part of a long history of gangs that have managed to, by virtue of what we call history and the mechanics and architecture of history, make you think that that's a gang that needs to be there. That if that gang wasn't there, there'd be this mad void and everything would fall apart. When in truth, I wonder how long it would take if there was no gang that called itself a government and done what governments do. I wonder how long it would take before we saw any difference. And I'll tell you this, I reckon you'd see positive difference before negatives. You wouldn't be paying any taxes for a start. Look how much that changes your life immediately. That whopping great amount of money they take off you. No VAT. That's 20% off of everything you buy. For money they've already taxed you on. Yeah. So you get paid 100 quid. They've taken 20 quid off that, at least. And then when you buy something, there's another 20 quid tax. So now you're down to 40 quid you've actually spent. Hang on, I thought I worked for £100 here. But then there's inflation as well. And inflation means that the value of the same trust, faith, which is fiat currency, it's just faith and trust. It's like a religion, really, money. So the value goes down, but you still trust it. You shouldn't, because the week before when you took that 100 quid shopping, you got more for it. So not only are they're taxing 40% off you, but the banks, because they want more money and they've screwed up and fucked up, etc., they've made that money. I mean, you've done the same work. You've done the same hours, but what they gave you doesn't buy as much. And that's just a gang. It's just another gang. Right. So the reason I said that was, I've seen Injustice, and that movie, I'll put the link in the chat. I'll put it in again, just in case you didn't get hold of it. I'll put it on the screen so you know what one it is. I know that doesn't help you. Lovely to see so many people here. This is going to be very quick. Jack London's been on the firm for 42 months. It's been longer than that, but we have occasional breakdowns on this channel. But thank you very much, Jack. I saw you the other night on with Rags, and you had 42 on as a guest of all people. And it was excellent. It was amazing listening to you talk about Ireland. Northern Ireland, I don't know, a British Ulster Unionist parliamentarian. JP, 34 months. It's been longer than that, but I won't go through all that again. Hello, Anglo. Nice to see you, mate. Marzipan, amazing Marzipanazi. There's that link, people. Great movie. I really enjoyed it. It's not a horror. It's not. It's like a rites of passage movie, but lovely storytelling, beautiful storytelling. Right, let's get into this. I ain't got long. Oh, hang on, we've got another one. Oh, it must be because it's like the 4th of the month. Pack has been a member for 41 months. Nice one, Picard. It's been longer than that, I'll tell you that. Marzipan for 35. Nice one, Ian. Much appreciated. I'm going to go through them again. Marzipan, lovely. Jack London, lovely. John Palmer. John, let's get this sorted. Should we say next week? Should we say next? John, you've got my email, chris@chrisdangerfield.com. 5 o'clock UK time. You tell me the day. Any but Friday. Or Friday. What? Thursday next week. Think about it. Thursday next week, John. Your stream, where I'll talk to you for an hour and a half. Lovely. And of course, Picard. And Alexander has just joined the firm. Nice one, Alex. Hoyt to that. Saw all those flag waving and thought I'll have some of that. Nice one, Alexander. When my missus was saying what we're going to call our kids, I proposed Alexander. She asked me why, and I told her about Alexander the Great. She looked very, very bored. But I do want to know. I said to her, do you want Cambodian, Khmer names or English? She just went English. Straight away, she went English. But I think I might do a bit of both. I think, I'm not going to tell you her name, but a double barrel Khmer name. So like Alexander something, her name, obviously, Dangerfield. Now, interesting that I mentioned that. Thank you, Alexander. It's appreciated. Watch that movie. You'll enjoy it. Just not now. This is going to last for probably about 10 minutes more. Although, if you pay me, I'll get guilty and I'll do longer. It's a grift. I do this for money. I'm a YouTuber. Just not a lot of money and not very well. But this is really important. This is really important. Right. Damn, I've talked for 15 minutes. We all watched the Kamala Harris parody video. Everyone's laughing about it. Elon Musk put it on Twitter and it had something like, it's had something like 100 million views now. Then he retweeted it or re-X'd it. That sounds a bit dodge. And because he didn't say where it came from and he wanted to give Mr. Reagan, who's the YouTuber that done it, he wanted to give him some respect or some cred, really. Yeah. What's the word? I don't know. I'm too tired for this, but it's really important. Stick with me on this, people. So it's the definition of virality. It went viral. Everyone was talking about it. And I'll tell you what, Mr. Reagan, neoconservative kind of type, right winger, on the firm, could not, and Elon Musk have both helped Kamala Harris. For her, that's a victory, an incredible victory. It's an amazing bit of marketing on her part. You know, she didn't arrange it. She didn't think that would happen. But when she woke up and someone said, you know, they've made a parody video about you, I bet she went, let me see it. And she watched it, and I bet she thought, fucking brilliant. Perfect. Because the words she uses, and we'll watch it now. Now, I apologise if I am. I've just finished like 16-hour shift, so I'm a little bit. But I saw a video, and I used to be a Marxist. I described myself more as a Marxist than a communist. There is a difference, but we won't go into that now. There's more of a similarity, so you know. But if Kamala Harris gets in, if she wins the election, which she may well do, it was Trump Biden, it ain't anymore. We've got a communist government in the UK. Believe that. You know, it's not hyperbole. When people say it, they go, no, it's not really, it's just Labour. These are people who refer to each other as comrade at their conventions. That's done for a reason. That's why it's repeated, like Kamala repeated. Well, see it in a minute. You'll know the saying because you've already heard it millions of times, hundreds of times at least. That's why they do it. Hello, comrade. Nice to see you, comrades. Comrade. You know, repetition. And we all know it. They don't hide it. They don't go, look, if we keep calling each other comrade, they're going to think we're communists. No, they're like, call each other comrade because we're communists. Now, let's have a look at the parody video. It's 2 minutes long. It's really well done. It's really funny on the surface, but we've got a problem here, and a frightening problem. This isn't a black pill because if you don't already know that the West is in the midst of a communist revolution, then I don't know where you've been hiding anyway. I mean, you know, the whole, what has been called woke, it's just communism. It's communism. It's communism dealing with mass media and culture. That's what wokeism actually is. It's how communism is. It's the long march into culture, which is a very powerful institution to get hold of. And you know, we see it as this fringe element. Some people do, but it ain't. It's the center. It's it. We saw the Paris Olympics. We saw the absolute trashing of the Last Supper. We've seen men beating up women as a sport. Did you see it? Did you see the blokes in the boxing ring in the French Olympics? Bang. You know, this is the in Marxist ideology and texts, because it's largely dialectics, the word contradiction comes up all the time. And yet, when the wokest of woke Olympics makes beating up women by men as a sport, it's like, okay, you know, the contradiction's amazing. Hello, dual citizen. What an absolute height on that. Right, there you go. Didn't know that. They both won gold. The blokes beat the women. What a surprise. How can you do that? How can you do it? How can you just say, I identify as a woman, and then get in a ring with a body shape that's better designed for fighting, that's practiced fighting since it was born, with bigger muscles, stronger bone density, just everything tipping the balance so much in your favor. Can you imagine? I mean, if you're a psychotic misogynist, I'm sure you can imagine and have imagined it. But I could not get on stage take part in something as culturally significant and historic. Here we go again. It's the long march into the cultural institutions. And fuck it, imagine just a jab. Boom. Watching her neck crack back. Then line her up for the next one. You've probably broken her nose with, 2 decent jabs has broken her nose. She's nearly out cold. And then just and then go like that. Yeah, and then stand on that ceremony with that gold painted lump of zinc around your neck. Yeah, I knocked out a woman. Right, you have to laugh, really. There you go. Oh, no, that's not what I thought you said, Packer. Yeah, I mean, that's why they do it. They see communism has to destroy that which has come before. It has to destroy the past. It has to become unburdened from its past. You see where we make the links. Why destroy the Last Supper? Why make a farce of it? When I was a kid, and I'm talking up until about, 9, 10 years old, at Christmas, we'd done the Nativity. We learnt about 3 wise men and following the star and gold, frankincense and myrrh. And we dressed up, with the little things and well, can we sleep in the doghouse, please, for the night? And culture repeats, and it repeats to maintain necessary cultural and social and ideological relations to maintain itself. But when you cleave that, when you make a farce of it, when you ridicule it, and it's only Christianity though, you ain't ridicule any other religions, don't even think about it. That's been legislated against. Or you might get shot. I mean, but Christianity, that's the one, because that's got more power in the Western world. So that's part of the unburdening from what has been. Now, let's watch the video. Thank you for the super chats. This was meant to be a very short stream. I've already gibbered for 23 minutes. Actually, I'll read them now because then I'm going to get into this and they might be out of context. Who have we got here? Anglo, bless you, son. It's been cleared up, mate. That boxer was born a woman. Just looks like a geezer. Is it okay? Okay. Oh, all right. Okay. Nice one, Anglo. Osmeister drops a lady in as well. He says, have you heard a guy called Ben Chaco? Anglo, I don't know if you're telling me a lie or not, whether that's a joke. Because I've seen the UFC. I've seen men fighting in the UFC. I've seen men fighting women. I don't think it was the UFC, actually. It was MMA, but it was unpleasant to watch. No, man, they were blokes. Are you winding me up, son? Anyway, Osmeister, have you heard a guy called Ben Chaco? He's the editor of the Morning Star. I went to school with him, and he was a friend. He's a full-blown commie. What? The Morning Star? Yeah, of course. Amazing. What was he like at school? Were the signs there? Did he get less oxygen? What are they called? See, this is why I shouldn't stream when I'm this knackered. Anyway, nice one, Osmar. So that is interesting, though. Why don't you contact him? See if he wants to come on here. I would absolutely love to have the editor of the Morning Star come on here and have a chat with him. I'd love to. I doubt he'd do it, though. Anyway, thank you, Anglo. Hang on, I'm going to look in the chat and see if Anglo's winding me up, and that's just a joke. My head's not on properly. Hello, Pizzle. How are you, son? CM Punk. Oi, Moody Edge, you must watch Napoleon Blown Apart. Have you seen Napoleon Blown Apart's MC Punks, right? MC Punk, yep. Mohawks, Sex Pistols. He really is. Right, I'm looking for Anglo's comments. I just want to get this sorted out, taken care of, wrapped up. This geezer says this guy's a barely cognitive retard. Out. In fairness, though, fair play to him. He's spotted. What can I say? Rollo says, I wish I could remember your words, Chris, and repeat them in the bait room at work. Rollo, I can't remember them tonight. I mean, I'm a barely cognitive retard, so, you know, just get a book. Right. I'll tell you what I would suggest. Here we go. Good says, the boxer has always lived as a woman, but it might be a castorcomania situation with funny chromosomes, not trans, but maybe intersex. Not exactly cleared up. Okay. Interesting stuff. Oh, this has got interesting. Yeah, I know. I at school. So the editor of the Morning Star was allegedly a fucking weirdo at school. Yeah, you done all right there. Hello, Jules. We've got Jules and Dual Citizen. Hello, Dirk Bogard. Nice to see you. I'll tell you what, Dirk, that is absolutely part of what I'm talking about. Dirk says the only game in town is what's happening on the streets of the UK. Yeah. Yep. I think you're right. Nothing else matters. I mean, I understand that from your point of view. You're certainly nearer to it, but I've been keeping my eyes on it, and you can't help but be encouraged. Although I've seen plenty of other people protesting, and they don't get the same treatment as when the ethnic natives decide they've had enough. They seem to get quite harsh treatment, almost as if it's a two-tier policing system and legal system and everything. Oh, it's all right, Alexander. I can cope with it, mate. I quite like it, to be honest with you. You know, imagine what that geezer's doing now, like that. He's on YouTube looking for something else that he can not like. Okay. I think if you've managed to maintain a YouTube channel for 9 years with some of the best people I've ever met, still coming back, I offer something, and that's enough for me. And it would appear to be enough for a few of you. Hello, Leon. That boxer was wearing a bright red bollock protector. The woman was not. That's an interesting that's a bit of evidence. I don't know if it counts as forensic. Amazing. Anglo's dropped another Lady Godiva. I'm not pulling your leg. I can't remember where I saw it. Well, someone else just said that it hasn't quite been sorted out, but nonetheless, I've seen men fighting women for sport. You know, we've seen it in other sports. Why won't it be in boxing? Because if they say no, it pulls the rug out from, well, why are they in swimming? You're saying it's the same. So if you can't in boxing, I don't know. It's all a mess, and they know it because they want to destroy it. When it's oh my gosh, hello son, AI Robot 3, long time no see. Perhaps you've been lurking. Freedom fighters. Are you referring to the women boxers? Amazing. Right, so the thing is, this all gets. Hello, Charles. Chameleon Harris. She changes colour depending on what crowd she's talking to. Yeah, she done her black impression, didn't she? You know, we're all gonna get that corn pie. It's like what? Anyway, I've got to try and keep this. Nice one, Picard, dropping a 2-bit. Bearing video on boxers, Y chromosomes, so not female. There you go. Packer has drawn a line. Grimsmo, that's not how you say it, is it? It's Grimzo. Alexander's preferable. I'm amazed the UK didn't kick off sooner. Yeah, the things that, I mean, because British people are nice and they trust the gang that calls themselves the government. But it would appear to have reached a point where, well, the bread and circuses ain't working anymore. Seems to be happening all over Europe. Yep. The question is, though, is it? Thank you for the donation, Alexander, and thanks for joining. The question is, though, whether it will work in our favour in the long term. I think the right has got a problem. It's like the right is all over here. Like the left, it should come together. Yeah, we can put our differences aside for the time being. And it's not looking like that's going to happen. Right. Anyway, hello, Elliot. Absolutely long time no see. Done the old graphics there. You know, when I make a video, people, Dangerfield, that's you, isn't it? Ring. Where are we going? I don't know. Okay, nice one on all that stuff we got cleared up there. I didn't expect any donations. This was going to be quick, but I don't seem to have that ability. As soon as there's plenty of people there, I just start talking. Jarl Hagar. All right, Danger. A quick year 8 from sunny Glasgow. Was that all right? Year 8. That's not bad, is it? Year 8. Year 8. It got better with time, didn't it? Year 8. Hey, year 8. Oh, that's it. You need to have that sort of, there's a bit before and a bit after. Year 8. Yeah. No, it went wrong at the end, didn't it? I should have stopped earlier. Okay. Hello, Mark. Nice to see you, son. It's when they start the Tommy shit. Well, I don't know. He's done a lot. He's done a lot for the right. Yes, you can say this isn't. I don't agree with this. I don't. But you're never going to agree with everything everyone says. You know. Even the left. Look at your Soviet revolution. As soon as they got in power, they started killing each other, the leaders, because they're lunatics. But I don't know. Anglo says, to my fellow Stokies tasted the blade of man. No. You know what? I tried to take a bit of time out today. I don't want to play my fiddle. Not my fiddle, because that's a bit more. It don't go like that. But I don't want to play my violin, but it's hard at work. And today I thought my missus brought around a chicken, spit roast, the chicken, not the missus. Whoops, sorry, Susan. And I thought, I'll tell you what, I'll have a break from everything. The new football season starting soon. I'll indulge in a bit of bread and circuses. And as soon as it started, he went, before the show starts, he said, we were contacted by blah, blah, blah. It was a bus driver who was stabbed and killed. And he was a lifetime Arsenal fan. His son plays for AFT VFC. And they just he was a real fan of the show, and they just thought it would be nice if that. And I just thought, and I'm not going to make a decision on who killed him, but if you asked me to bet, I'd probably put a bullseye on it, and that it's just part and parcel of life in the UK at the moment. That's a sickener, Anglo. Sorry, mate. And this is why it will continue, and this is why these things will continue to happen. Osmeister says, I just read Mr. Chaco's Wikipedia. He lived in China for a bit and is quoted as saying, China is evidence that you can run a society without surrendering to the idea that the market is always right. Yeah, but there's a kind of different logic to advanced communism that you don't get in the early stages. You know, once you've run it for over half a century and kind of modified it a little bit capital, you end up being one of the richest countries on the planet. The first 30 years tends to be murder, death, starvation and torture. So, you know, it's a fair point though. Nice one, Osmeister. You're not doing that anymore, Elliot. It's a cracker though. I still use it. If I remember, it still goes up. Oh, no, I don't. I think, yes, I do. I can't even remember. I don't know what to do, ever. I have no memory at all. Right, where are we? Thank you, mate. Thank you. It's nearly been 40 minutes. Honestly, it's now 3 o'clock in the morning. I promise this was going to be a 5-minute video. But actually, I'm glad that it hasn't been, because you know what? The best thing about this channel, and I'm going to say this, and I don't think it's going to come as much of a surprise, but it's not the content, it's the community. And that's why I've gabbered for 37 minutes, because it's nice seeing people I know, people who I have little rows with, people who I agree with, people who question things. And there you go. Hello, Wolfie. Yeah, about 9 years. Or do you just mean today, this stream? You've been here from the beginning, and you, Wolfie? At least about 7. No, you were here when we done the Dangerfield. You went to Chinese prescription. Lock spaz on the firm. You're all right, son. Nice to see you. Did I say hello, Jessica? Did I say hello, Moody Edge? Right, let's get on with it, because I've really got to go to sleep. Right. As I say that, I'm looking through the chat to say hello to people. Hello, John. Right, no more. If I haven't said hello to you and I see your name, I will catch up with you at some point. Anglo's dropped another Lady Godiva. A police liaison officer caught on camera telling the mob to leave their weapons in the mosque. Not a surprise. I tried to watch Jordan Peterson's conversation with Tommy Robinson, 2 people that I'm not particularly interested in, but that's because I've pretty much heard what they've got to say. However, when Tommy was talking about Luton and how much terrorism has been organised from mosques in Luton, and this isn't his opinion, this is known, this is data that is part of the history of Luton. It was just so blackpilling. I just thought, I can't sit through 3 hours of just, you know, it was like Orwell's quote. And if you want an image of the future, it's a boot stamping on a human head forever. I thought, I can't have that boot just stamping on me. That was not the right quote, but words to that effect. I just can't have it for 3 hours. It was so sad. And he was talking about his cousin and what happened to her and kids at his school and his school existence. And you're thinking, you know, this was like 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. It's shocking. Right. So let me get, it's very kind of you people. I'll sleep better tonight for your donations. I really will. Let's watch the parody ad and then I'm going to try and get into this. All right. So don't forget to like the video, people. Then YouTube might offer it to someone and I might get 1 new subscriber. My channel doesn't go up or down ever. I think they've just stopped allowing people to subscribe or unsubscribe. Don't test that one. Well, you can if you want, if you've had enough. Right, here we go. Like the video, please. Let's have a look at the original parody that's been seen by hundreds of millions of people. And I'm not knocking it. It is funny, but there's a dirty greasy communist underbelly. And now we watched this the other day on this channel. Now I've said that, look out for it. Listen out for it. Give me a couple of seconds. I can't believe I promised myself 10 minutes, 41 minutes. I don't even know what I've said. Well, I've said hello to a few people and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Right, here we go. I'll make it a bit bigger. Bosh, bosh, bosh. And I forgot to put the audio on. Let's start that little run around again. There you go. Share. Right. Let me know if you can't hear it. Here we go. I'll mute myself. Well, watch the whole thing. It's 2 minutes long.
I, Kamala Harris, am your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility of debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time. Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking. The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring. And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean, Joe Biden. You think the country went to over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
That little laugh at the end might be the final cackle of history. Now, Marxist politics, and I'm having to drag this up. I even got ChatGPT on the phone to remind me. Hello, Doc Shelley. Good to see you. Hello, Mr. Savage. Always a pleasure. Marxist politics is essentially built around history, historical materialism, dialectic materialism, all these kinds of things. You don't really need to know what they are at this stage, but it would be worth looking further into it. But all that passage of time, and that was cut to make her look stupid, and she kept saying it. And there's another video out there where she just keeps saying unburdened by what has come before, and I can't remember what the next bit is, and free and the possibilities of the future. That is Marxism 101. That Marx talked about that in the 18th Brumaire. Now, I think, and if any French speakers are in here, feel free to correct me. The 18th Brumaire is a paper that Karl Marx, that's where the word Marxism comes from, wrote when he was studying Napoleon Bonaparte's revolution. And it's the second month in the revolutionary calendar. And why are these revolutionaries always obsessed with time? The second month in the revolutionary character. You don't need to know the ins and outs of that, but just realize that it existed. And I think Brumaire comes from the French meaning mist. It's the misty month of the revolutionary calendar. And I think it's September, October. I could be wrong, but the details here for you to go and look further. But don't worry, I've got stuff to back it up. But listen to this from Marx's paper, the 18th Brumaire, his study of how Napoleon Bonaparte had a revolution. Men make their own history, but they do not make it as they please. They do not make it under self-selected circumstances, but under circumstances already given and transmitted from the past. And he's saying that, talking about working classes, essentially, making their own history, but how can it be their own? It's like, how do you make a pie when someone else gives you the ingredients? You can make a pie, but the people who gave you the ingredients determine what pie that's going to be. Like, if they don't give you any flour, it's going to be a vegan pie. I mean, no, what is it? Celiac disease. What when you can't eat flour? You know what I'm saying. I don't need to get too much into that. Listen to this. This is Karl Marx. Ready? The tradition of all dead generations weighs like a nightmare on the brains of the living. Right? That whole paper, the 18th Brumaire, is about how a communist revolution, a communist utopia, which is always in transition, it's always changing, it doesn't stop, it just becomes. And then then we get complicated, because you've got the likes of Francis Fukuyama, who wrote a book called The End of History and the Last Man. Now, what's interesting about Fukuyama's book, I mean, The End of History is an incredible title for a book in the postmodern era we live in. And what Fukuyama was saying was that we've reached the peak of human progress. And he tried to spin it as a liberal democracy, that we've got everything we want, we've got our laws and our rights, etc., etc. It's not perfect, but there's nowhere to go from here. And the weird thing is, Fukuyama got in a lot of grief about it, because the neocons got hold of it. A lot of right wingers got hold of it, and many different people tried to spin it in their own way. And he wrote another book after it, especially The Last Man. The idea that man, I think he wrote it in 1992, suggesting that man, as he is in the early 90s, if only, was it. There was nothing else to do. We'd reached a point of, like I say, his liberal democracy. So we start putting together these ideas of Marx and that, and contemporary thinkers. I think he was working for the government, Fukuyama, when he wrote that and published it, and it was a bestseller. How does The End of History and The Last Man become a bestseller? Because it appealed to people's understanding of sort of a latent understanding of being in a postmodern era where you lose track of time, because culture had covered the earth. It had been everywhere. It had found everything. And so there was no distinct aesthetics. You could get something from the 1850s and say, well, that's an 1850s dress or painting or sculpture. You can get something from the 1950s, like, I don't know, a Paul Klee or a Wassily Kandinsky. That's a 1950s painting. That's a 1960s Mary Quant dress. That's an early 1970s glam rock band, etc., etc. Oh, that's an 80s haircut. All that synth rock. But then when we get to the postmodern era, where all the time history and all the space, geography has been conquered. We've been everywhere. We've read everything. We've seen it all. And so at that point, we went back. Everything started just becoming retro. Let's bring back the 80s. Let's bring back the 70s. Let's bring back the 60s for this year. And then it's the brown plasticine argument. You know, you're not getting distinct aesthetics and cultural movements because it's just all a bit of a blur. It's all a bit of everything, probably encapsulated with Warhol. That's probably, if you want to learn about this, you know, I'm just skimming the surface, but I recommend a book. Rollo, if you really want to learn this stuff, there's a book by Frederick Jameson. He's a commie, but don't throw the baby out of the bathwater. It's called The Cultural Logic of Late Capitalism. And he compares Vincent van Gogh's painting of some peasant shoes, impressionist, post-impressionist style, to Andy Warhol's diamond dust shoes screen print that Andy Warhol didn't even do because he got other people to do them, which was part of his comment on art. You know, it's not an original. You know, there's copies of something, but there's no original, which turns into hyper-reality and simulations. Jean Baudrillard uses the Borges story of what's it called? The map and the territory, and the map eventually covers the territory. The map is so detailed it covers the territory exactly. And when the empire it covers and the map slowly sort of break down over time, and you know, all empires come to an end, people visiting later in time, they couldn't tell the difference between the map and the territory. And we find ourselves in this simulated, hyper-real, Warholian, everyone is famous for 15 minutes, end of history, last man, essentially heavily burdened from that which has come before. Now, I'm not saying you do, I'm saying they're the arguments. And when Camilla Parker Bowles when Kamala Harris is saying these things, when she's saying we are unburdened from the past, or whatever the quote is, let's actually find it. Hang on. Let's find the montage, because you realize the humor. Hang on. Unburdened by what has been. Right, I haven't watched this. It'll probably be it. Excuse the adverts. Oh, by the way, I've worked out how to get rid of adverts if you because YouTube stopped letting my ad blockers work, and they threatened to get rid of my channel. But I found if I go on NordVPN and select Mongolia, there's a few other countries. But if you select Mongolia, no one wants adverts there, so you get ad-free YouTube. Nothing else on your computer works, though, because they haven't got enough coal in Mongolia to keep the internet running for more than YouTube. I haven't watched this, but it looks like it will be what I'm looking for. Let's hope so, or this will be Trez embarrassing. Yeah. Make that bit bigger. Roll VT.
Kamala Harris? Can we talk about Kamala Harris? Yeah, we got to, because, I mean, I know some people want her to be president and other people want her to just go away.
We don't need all that. Oh, man, I was hoping it was going to be, this might be it. I want a montage. This might be it.
The point about progress is to have the ability to have a vision and a belief and some faith in what can be, unburdened by what has been.
Unburdened by what has been. Hey, feels, I don't know, like I've heard that before.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be,
Beautiful.
unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been.
All right, enough. I've got 5 more.
Right. Now, here's your takeaway, people. She's not an idiot. Kamala Harris's father was a Marxist professor. She grew up in a household of Marxism and a Marxist professor father. She's not an idiot. She's playing a very good game. She's likely to win this election, by the way. At the moment, I'd probably put my money on her. At the moment, many things can change. The stock market's crashing, which that might affect things. There's talk of the Fed taking down rates, but I think they'll do that in response to polls. Anyway, that's Marxism 101. She's talking, that's a Marxist phrase, and she's repeating it and repeating it. And she knows she is. Did you see the hand signals? Unburdened from the past, from what has been. And then what happens when kids go into schools, when sixth formers go into schools, when voting age kids are in education, and they'll be talking about the election when they're doing their social sciences, their cultural studies, their critical race theory, their fucking contemporary dance, all those mad liberal art school nonsense stuff. And they'll be going, why she keeps saying that? And that's when they get into the Marxism. That's when they explain to people that what she's saying is that the future of America can be unburdened from the weight, what Marx said, the traditions of dead generations that weighs like a nightmare on the brains of the living. What are the traditions of America? They're Americans. They're Americans. So they're talking about, this is why I mentioned the Olympics. It's not stupidity mocking the Last Supper. It's not stupidity making a farce of women's sports. It's intentional. They want to get rid of it. You know, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris et al. Haven't made a bodge up of their last 4 years in government in America. They've done exactly what they wanted to do. Trump was producing and selling oil, and then everyone went, "Hang on, why is Biden not producing oil anymore?" Well, because of the Green New Deal. So whereas under Trump they were producing it, selling it to themselves for not a lot, and selling it to Europe, amongst others. But Biden, everyone's going, what an idiot. Now he's begging OPEC to produce more. And OPEC said no. And he probably sat down at the end of the day. And all those communists that dominate the Democrat Party would have said, brilliant. Tick that one off the box. Because that's so powerful. It's so powerful to be able to produce your own energy, your own oil, your own petrol. If you're paying through the nose for oil, you're paying through the nose for everything. Why? Because everything needs to be moved about. How does food get from the farm to the processing plant and then to the supermarket? It gets driven or it gets flown. It takes oil. That's why everything went up. What does that do? It wrecks a country. The stock market's crashing. If you're an investor, hold tight. Don't panic sell. The stock market crashes. It's volatile. Don't panic sell. Give it a few years. It comes back up. This happens every now and again. But at the moment, before an election, it looks lovely for the Marxists. They don't want it. They want to be unburdened from what was. And what was the Constitution. Was America. was a republic with a constitution and with borders. They don't want that. They don't want it for America. They don't want it for Europe. They don't want it for any... Oh, well, there's one place they'll probably... just a little bit closer to the line there. So this has all gone fine for them. And then I can wrap all of that up. Now, I know a lot of people do not like Charlie Kirk. I'm changing my mind on Charlie Kirk. I think he's doing a hell of a lot more than a lot of people. And I think he's doing a hell of a lot more of something that's exceptionally necessary, especially at that higher and further education level. Because without the likes of him, it's just the left. It's just the left. You set up a right-wing table in an American college these days, it just gets turned over and thrown away. Charlie Kirk's got the money to turn up with bouncers and you know and can sue afterwards if need be. So after all of that, Anglo says Trump should ask Harris Bint, what the fuck does that quote mean? Because nobody knows. But that's what I'm saying, Anglo. Everyone does know because it's been repeated and repeated, and school and people at university will be asking. It's Marxism. Hello, Bill. It's Marxism 101. Alexander dropped 25 quid into Entropy. Alexander, you've been very generous tonight. There's no way Kamala can win without serious rigging. I mean, look, no one can see the future. But when it was Biden, I was confident Trump will win. Now, you know, the media sold Biden out, didn't they? The night after that debate, there was no spin. They sold him out. But they're not selling out Kamala Harris. You cannot get away from her campaign videos. She's got the whole of the media, apart from obviously a few right-wing YouTube channels, on side. They're spending billions on promoting her and flagging off Trump. I can't speak on serious rigging because I don't know enough about it. I'd guess that there's a good chance it may well have happened in the last election, but again, I haven't got a lot to go on. Anglo says she banged up lots of people for possession of weed, then laughed and bragged about smoking weed herself. Yeah, she's a terrible person. You know, there's so much you can find her saying. There's another thing she says where she says you didn't just fall out of a coconut tree, and everyone says, "Oh, I can't believe she said that." But that's part of the same Marxist rhetoric. It's part of the same that what she talks about, the passage of time, is part of the same being unburdened. You didn't just fall out of a coconut tree. You come from the movement of history. You come from the mechanism of history, and you didn't make it. It's weighing down on you. Like Marx said in the 18th, Brumaire. Now watch Charlie Kirk talk to someone who knows about this stuff. And this will bring together everything I've said, apart from the first 47 minutes. Thank you, Anglo. You've been very generous, as usual. It's really, really very kind. Thanks to everyone who's donated. Amazing. Right, check this out. It's not really what Charlie Kirk says. It's what his guest says. I don't even know who his guest is, but it's not relevant because it's what he says. You should be able to hear this. Oh, don't tell me I can't share that. Oh, yes, I can. I thought I was on a share ban. Share banner. Right, listen to this. Watch this. Remember everything that we've talked about, because it's all going to be summarized in 82 seconds.
Vice President Harris will say repeatedly, what is the quote? The quote is that we can see what can be unburdened by what has been. Is that word salad or Marxism? It's Marxism. That is, in fact, not at all word salad. It is a Marxist, as I said on Twitter the other day and got mocked relentlessly by the media for this. I said it's a Marxist incantation, as a matter of fact. It's like a spell. So you can see the possibility of a world that's unburdened from its own history, which is exactly what Mao Zedong did when he launched the campaign of Smash the Four Olds, the four old characteristics of Chinese society. They were going to make a new China that was going to be unburdened by what had been in the past of China. This is what the Soviets, the Bolsheviks, did when they took over power in Russia, is that they were going to make the new Russia. They're going to make the new man, as a matter of fact. People could become unburdened by what has been so that they could see what could possibly be in the terms of a socialist utopia. So, Madam Vice President, when she says that, I assume, given that her father was a Marxist and a professor, I assume she knows what she's saying, and I don't buy her idiot Valley speak shtick one bit. I think she's far more smart and far more savvy than conservatives have given her credit for, and she is an outright Marxist. It is very, very clear in her language, and that's what the Democrats want to nominate for president right now, which is kind of horrifying.
Mao Zedong done it. Lenin done it. Pol Pot, brother number one on my manor, he set the calendar back to year zero. When they had their communist revolution, he put it back to zero. He started the fucking calendar again. Why? To be unburdened from that, what has been. He had children running the, you hear about the killing fields, children looked after those with their AK-47s. Why? Because children, this is Pol Pot's thinking. Children hadn't been stained by capitalism. And so they weren't burdened. They didn't have that 18th Brumaire weight of what had come before weighing them down. And children tortured people. Children killed people. That passage of time, that year zero, Fukuyama's last man, the new man of the Soviet era, Mao Zedong's four olds. Do you know what that was? Mao Zedong, there was a few of them. There was the four pests. I've talked about them before. Mao Zedong said there's four pests, and it was something like rats, crickets, mosquitoes, and sparrows. And they were eating all the crops, and that's why the harvests were failing. That's not why the harvests were failing. The harvests were failing because people didn't know how to do it. And they wanted to make metal because they watched England making metal and making millions and building bridges and actually building an incredible civilization. So Mao Zedong wanted to make metal. So he got all the communes to get all their forks and their woks and anything metal and melt it down in these really basic homemade little smelting forges. And they went round to all the communes, collected all the metal they'd made and melted down to be used to build these bridges. But it was shit. They threw it all in the fucking Yangtze River. They literally did. It was useless. The four pests, they started with the sparrows. It was told, all the communes were told to go out on a certain day at a certain time and make as much noise as you can. Just bang things together, shout, whistle, play musical instruments, because the birds won't land because they're too scared. And this was how they were going to get rid of the four pests. This was one aspect of the four pests. And so the birds just flew and flew and flew until they died. And they dropped out of the sky dead. And at the end of the day, you'd take all the dead birds you'd killed to the leader of the commune, and you'd get praise for the most birds you killed. But of course, when you kill all the birds or a large majority of them, you damage the food chain. So the birds weren't eating the insects, and the insects were then free to absolutely ravage the crops, and it absolutely backfired. Of more importance to what I've been talking about is the four olds. Again, unburdening from what has come before. Mao's Red Army were students. And they went around getting rid of old things, things that represented the history that came before. Names of roads, names of public places, statues. They were all pulled down. They were pulled down. Road names were changed. All that sound familiar? Weren't we having statues pulled down in London just a year or so ago? That was part of the four olds. We don't want the olds. No, this is a utopia. This is a utopia that's no longer burdened by the failures of man in the past. And Kamala Harris is promoting that message. And if she gets in, if she becomes the president of the United States of America, without doubt, she will be, and already is, the most radical Marxist communist leader that nation, that republic has ever had. And she will tear it to pieces. How do I know that? Well, I don't 100%. But communism has been tried on 2/3 of the inhabited planet. And every time the same results. Mass starvation, mass torture, piles and piles of millions of dead bodies. She's not an idiot. She's a Marxist. And unfortunately, and having been one, not a very good one, thankfully, they're not stupid. That's why it's been tried. That's why it carried on even after the deaths and the torture and the posters they put up in Ukraine telling you not to eat your dead children because you might get diseased. And yet they still carried on and still carried on. Because it's powerful to repeat. That's propaganda, that's advertising, that's marketing. Just keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it. People learn it, people remember it, people live it. Coke is it, just do it, Nike. Anglo says, I wouldn't be slightly surprised if Harris wins, Chris. Nice one on the donation, and all of them, Anglo, as always. No, I wouldn't. And I'm telling you, she's a Marxist. There's no point describing her as an extreme Marxist because Marxism is extreme as it gets. The Communist Manifesto, I think it's the second paragraph. Listen to this. It's well, hang on, I'll find it and I'll tell you exactly right. First page, Communist Manifesto. It says something like you can define communism in one word: the abolition of private property. Where is it? Hang on. Dang, I can't find it, but hang on, I can find it. I've just got to slow down a bit. Bit of the old chat GPT. There you go. There you go. Socialism, which is used interchangeably with communism throughout all of Marx's writing. So when you hear the likes of Keir Starmer talk about socialism, they're talking about communism, can be defined in one sentence: the abolition of private property. Do you understand how radical that is? You will own nothing. The idea being you will own everything. because we all own the means of production. Good luck with that. And this isn't a joke. This hasn't been hyperbole. This is happening under our noses. The communist revolution that's been happening in Western Europe, which has brought the German markets to its knees, which has turned France into a living nightmare, which has turned England on the cusp of a living nightmare, which is creating wars globally, proxy wars mainly, but people still die and suffer, and they don't end. You don't just stop them. They go on and on and on, and there's a chance that the daughter of a Marxist professor who's been spouting Marxist propaganda for years now will be the president of the United States. And if you think that southern border was wide open under Biden, yeah. Yeah. Wait till that tap actually gets turned. Please don't forget to like this video. Don't forget, I'm a writer. I don't write about that sort of stuff though. I'll put a link into the video. You can find it in any of my videos. I forgot to put all my links into this video because it was going to be a 10-minute video because it's now 20 to 4 in the morning. I'll play a little bit of music on the way out. And I want to put you... we'll just have to put up with them. I can't work out who's advertising on monthly. All right, there you go. If an advert comes up halfway through this song, Lord knows who's advertising on Paul's songs. I really should talk to him about that because someone's making money out of him and it ain't him. Let me know what you think about a Marxist president who hasn't kept it a secret. Nowhere near, quite the opposite. But she's done it like a Trojan horse. And all those students will be learning about it. But they won't be learning about the failures, the blatant failures and the millions of dead people that's come off the back of communism. They'll be learning about that wasn't real communism, but this one will be. So, get your vote in. Hate your Trump supporting friends. When people tell me they don't vote and when they tell me that Trump's an idiot, well, you can have that or you can have a Marxist. And I know I'll take either way all day long. And it is not the Marxist. Look after yourselves, people. I'll come back for a couple of words, but I want to see what you've got to say. I'll put your comments on the screen. This is Paul Mumford, dedicated to my man Anglo. It's cold hard steel.
You're fighting good. Feel the glory he said you would. Tell your mama you're coming home.
You ain't lost your pot, JC.
Over all of that death syndrome.
Bless you, brother.
But you realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Feel the dawn of your final day. Feel the fear and go anyway. Get right in that big black plane.
No, John.
No,
didn't miss it, mate. Nice one, JP.
But you'll realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Cause the wheels already been rolled when you feel feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh do whatever they tell me to. Tell yourself it ain't really you. But when the slaughtering has begun, you'll be murdering someone's son. And you'll realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Cause the wheels already been rolled when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord, yes, you'll realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord, cause the wheels already been rolled when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord, hey.
Glass. I didn't know you were a Glass. Hang on a minute. I should have said it in the video. Thanks for the donation, Glass and Sink. I should stop doing that. She might be ironing or something. She'll burn her feet. That's a joke between me, Emma, and probably Packer. Here's the thing, though, people. When there have been communist revolutions, that's peak insanity, and something gets done about it, and it might be what it takes. Because can we let things carry on as they are? You know, I'd obviously rather a more sensible solution, but yeah, I didn't want a black pill here. I just wanted to. You know, I was party to laughing at Kamala Harris, but then I started thinking, and I thought, hang on, that whole unburden, that's just Marxism. All right, look after yourselves, people. Bless you all. The world keeps turning, people. Don't forget that. I want to thank my moderators, Rags and the boy Cray. I want to thank everyone who donated. Much appreciated. Did I thank? I got an entry from Alexander. I read it, but I don't know if I thanked you, Alexander. And most of all, as always, thanks to everyone who come along. It's lovely to be able to do a stream and be in the company of people that I like being in the company of. Bless you all. Hoi ta.